Irish guy, and the World Cup is finally here. Anyone excited yet? But still, I'm gonna go through every World Cup team and find the one player who I think is going to flop. Right, let's go. Ecuador, Eder Valencia. If you live in Ecuador, I'm guessing the hype for Eder Valencia must be absolutely through the roof. I'm sure he's a former West Ham and Everton striker flop. But I mean, lads, look at his stats in Turkey this season. 12 league games played, 13 goals scored. Ozzy, if you support Ecuador, you're probably so excited that, you know, probably waking up 4 times a night drenched in your own piss. But relax, okay? I have a feeling that yes, while he is on fire against Turkish defenses, I mean, I'm not expecting him to score a single goal here, especially against the likes of Holland, where Virgil van Dijk will easily stuff this guy in a sandwich and chew him in the second half. Sorry, Ender, but you're gonna have all the impact of a half-empty packet of skips. Netherlands, Cody Gakpo. All eyes are on Cody Gakpo this tournament, right? I mean, he's a 23-year-old PSV winger linked with Manchester United. Oh yeah, and already this season has 13 goals and 17 assists in 24 matches. I mean, that's ridiculous. This guy's sickening hype levels must be melting the Eredivisie. Every single Dutch pundit must be talking about him all the time. So I realize this is a shout to back against one of the most informed footballers in the world, but I just reckon he's going to be stifled in Louis van Gaal's rigid formation, and the weight of expectation is going to weigh on his shoulders, you know, as if he's giving a piggyback to Susan Boyle. I just think he won't be terrible, but it'll be a pretty quiet tournament for him, as he's outshone by Steven Bergwijn. Honestly, nobody's going to be talking about Gakpo in a month, after he's just spent the tournament looking about as pointless as Mayweather with a library card. Qatar, Saad Al-Sheeb. I mean, he's a goalkeeper. He'll concede a lot of goals, right? Senegal, Edouard Mendy. This tournament has come at the utter worst time for Edouard Mendy. I've already said it. This man's Chelsea form has been in the gutter for months. I mean, he's no longer the confident, impressive feline between the sticks that won both the Champions League and the African Nations Cup. Instead, there's a down in the dumps shell of a man who probably still has nightmares about his disaster at Ellen Road. And let's be honest, Graham Potter clearly has about as much trust in him as he would a broken dishwasher. I mean, he doesn't really want his kitchen covered in wet, soggy sausages. I reckon Mendy's going to make an absolute howler in at least one match in the group stage, a mistake so bad that football Twitter will instantly decide that he's about as hideous as a decapitated frog. Sorry, Mendy, but this is going to be a terrible tournament for you. England, Phil Foden. Let's be honest, Gareth Southgate does not have a clue how to use Phil Foden. I know he's only 22, but when has Foden ever looked like Manchester City Foden in an England shirt? I mean, come on, 2 goals and 18 caps for a generational wizard like him, just like a Euro 2020. I think Foden is going to be a frustrating shadow who'll buzz around on that left wing, but will show the end product of a melted Toblerone. Honestly, Euro 2020. Sure, it was cute when he wanted to play dressed up as Gaza, but I mean, his performances were closer to peak Darren Ambrose. I mean, anyone remember him? Yeah, I didn't think so. He was about as memorable as a Jack Whitehall joke. Similarly, Foden will struggle to get into the games. He'll get hauled off early in the second half with the likes of Jack Grealish, despite him mostly being a sweaty lump of hair gel intimidated by Almiron. But yeah, Foden, it'll be a stinker of a tournament. I think England managers are going to waste Foden's career, just like they did Paul Scholes. Iran, Alireza Jahanbakhsh. Alireza Jahanbakhsh is washed. I ever remember when this was an Iranian winger banging in 22 goals in one season for AZ Alkmaar? Yeah, well, so far this season, a big fat 0 goals in 9 Eredivisie matches for Feyenoord. I mean, clearly at 29 years of age, this Brighton flop is just an over-the-hill lump. Someone who probably spends every night just eating cookies and crying into the sink. And again, yeah, he'll have absolutely no impact in this World Cup. 0 goals, 0 assists, and Carlos Queiroz, someone who 6 months ago was working with Mo Salah on the wing. Oh, he will be so frustrated. He'll probably be contemplating whether or not to slip poison into Jahanbakhsh's orange juice. USA, Christian Pulisic. Out of every country at the World Cup, nobody has more pressures on their shoulders than Christian Pulisic. I mean, the USA has a population of 332 million, and Christian Pulisic is literally hailed as Captain America. I mean, this is the type of international superstar they were praying for ever since David Beckham arrived to inspire the country in 2007. I mean, lads, this guy is more naturally talented than Landon Donovan, someone who is practically USA soccer version of Tom Brady, despite in reality just being someone who's wound up at Everton on loan twice. I mean, this is a country who crammed pressure onto the shoulders of Freddie Adu when he was 14 years of age, and now, well, I don't know, his career's gone the same way as the main star of Malcolm in the Middle. Pulisic is not in good form. I mean, the guy barely gets a start in a Chelsea shirt. He never gets the full 90 minutes. He's underconfident, demoralised, and probably still sulky that he didn't get a summer loan move to Old Trafford. Again, with all this pressure on his shoulders, Pulisic is going to have an anonymous World Cup. Wales, Gareth Bale. I've already spoken about this in a previous video. Gareth Bale is struggling for minutes in the MLS. I mean, he's doing nothing at this tournament. Next, Argentina, Angel Di Maria. Angel Di Maria should not be at this World Cup. I know he's a footballing legend, but come on, he's nearly 35 years old. I mean, he started 2 games for Juventus. 2. I mean, to be fair, one of them was in a Champions League match where he did register 3 assists. But I mean, is that it? Right now, he's an injury-plagued dish rag who, let's not forget, is coming off a season where he netted just 5 goals for PSG. I mean, if Lionel Scaloni actually trusts him in his starting 11, it'll be a bit like asking your granddad to go ice skating at the Christmas fair. Yeah, have fun explaining to the paramedics why his shin now looks like soggy Weetabix. I mean, Di Maria at this tournament is going to look laughably old. A bit like in 20 years if you still get tickets to go watch Taylor Swift. Mexico, Raul Jimenez. Raul Jimenez is done. I'm sorry, but I've already said it. He's been nursing a chronic headache for 2 years. I mean, in a wool shirt, he has looked like an anonymous mobile fridge. But not only that, he's also had hip problems that have ruled him out of action for months. He shouldn't even be in this squad. I mean, Mexico seem to think they've got a prime Jared Borghetti on their hands, but they don't. The Jimenez of 2019 is gone. In his place is just some static Gardeno who winces when he hits the ball. Aussie lads, 0 goals, and he'll mostly show the aerial presence of a wet paper bag. Poland, Grzegorz Krakowiak. How is Grzegorz Krakowiak going to the World Cup at 32? I thought the world had made up their mind on him months ago. I mean, yeah, he was a Europa League hero at Sevilla 6 years ago. Since then, he's failed at PSG, West Brom, and a brief renaissance at Lokomotiv Moscow. But then it was back to stinking up the place at Krasnodar, AK Athens, and now Al Shabab on loan. This guy is an absolutely rudderless chicken wing of a footballer. I mean, when he was in the Premier League, he showed that he could tackle about as well as I can breastfeed a dog. Just no. If he plays in Poland's midfield, he's going to look so hideously sloppy and give the ball away time and time again. Saudi Arabia, Salman Al Faraj. Yeah, won't do much, I guess. Next, Austria, Martin Boyle. Martin Boyle has had a weird career. I mean, he's amongst a bunch of players in the Australia squad who are Scottish. I mean, lads, yeah, he was another one born in Aberdeen and has spent almost the entire of his career playing in Scotland. But aside from a weird brief spell in Saudi Arabia last season, I mean, he is a sprightly 29-year-old forward who's in good form for Hibernian. But I mean, there are levels to this. It's a World Cup, and this is a former Montrose winger who turns 30 in April. Sorry, Boyle, but this is a massive step up. And yeah, Susan's cousin is gonna be poor. Denmark, Mikkel Damsgaard. This was supposed to be Mikkel Damsgaard's World Cup, right? I mean, he was an absolute breakout star at Euro 2020. I mean, he nearly scored the goal that sent Denmark into the final. I mean, he was the Danes' answer to Kieran Trippier. It was the nearly free kick. It hasn't really worked out for him since. I mean, just like Trippier came off that World Cup and went and had a rotten season at Spurs, similarly, Damsgaard, I mean, injuries destroyed last season at Sampdoria, and he's since moved to Brentford, but let's call a spade a spade. So far, he's been a big money flop. I mean, here's the humbling issue. I remember that free kick he banged in past Jordan Pickford? That probably caused most of you to feel a sick knot in your stomach. Yeah. He hasn't scored a single goal since. And with Christian Eriksen back in the Denmark team, sorry lads, but Damsgaard is going to have a rotten tournament. France, Kylian Mbappe. Yeah, I already know, you're all calling me a dunce right now, right? I mean, predicting an absolute world superstar like Kylian Mbappe to fail at a major tournament? Clearly I've got the brains of a scarecrow, right? But, I mean, don't you remember Mbappe stinking up the place at Euro 2022? Lad, France always follow up a good World Cup with a dreadful World Cup. I mean, genuine world greats like Thierry Henry and Zinedine Zidane were horribly unfit peanuts at the 2002 World Cup, and I think we're going to see a similar disaster for Mbappe. I mean, this is a man who was booed at the Ballon d'Or Awards in Paris. This is a guy who received abuse from his own fans at Euro 2020. There is a bubbling disconnect between Mbappe and the international team. I mean, Christ above, he was contemplating international retirement at 21. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see him do a Paul Scholes and retire from international football early at age 29. And here, France are going to have a horrible campaign, and Mbappe will look like a sluggish, unfit snail. Just, yeah, not good. If Mbappe scores more than 3 goals, I will rub wet cornflakes all over my face. Tunisia, Wabi Kazri. Yeah. Remember Sunderland flop Wabi Kazri? I mean, yeah, he's an actual monster for Tunisia. But still, I mean, he's been in poor form for Montpellier in League 1. Just 2 goals in 11 matches. He'll do nothing at this tournament. He'll barely put in a half-decent cross. Costa Rica, Brian Ruiz. Brian Ruiz is the captain of Costa Rica, and let's be real. In his prime, this guy at one point was one of the most coveted forwards in Europe, especially in 2010, after he just banged in 28 goals in one season for FC Twente. And then he moved to the Premier League to absolutely stink up the place at Fulham. Yeah. That was 7 years ago. He's now 37 years old and back in Costa Rica after failing in Brazil. And I mean, come on, I'm gonna say it. He is going to be the worst captain in the entire competition. Sure, he was a star in 2014, but he's nearly 40 and hasn't been on top form since 2010, so Go figure. Germany, Serge Gnabry. Serge Gnabry is back in great form for Bayern Munich, right? I mean, this guy just netted a hat-trick against Werder Bremen, and he now has 6 goals in his last 6 Bundesliga matches after netting a big bag of nothing 6 matches in a row. So really, yes, he should be one of Germany's most exciting attacking threats in this tournament, but I've already said, I think Germany are going out of the group stage, and players like Gnabry, one of the country's true world-class greats, despite looking like someone who probably eats muffins for breakfast in the McDonald's drive-thru, I just reckon he's going to still look poor. Japan, Maya Yoshida. Remember what I said about Ruiz being the worst captain at the tournament? Lads, Maya Yoshida is 34 years old and in the worst form of his life. I mean, he moved to Schalke during the summer, and lads, he's only been part of 2 wins in his first 15 matches, including a sequence of 7 defeats in a row. I mean, he was part of events which were crushed by Union Berlin 6-1 at home. He is pinned to the foot of the table on 9 sad and lonely points, and yet he's rewarded with a chance to captain a major country at the World Cup. This guy is currently slower than a wheelbarrow filled with cow poo. Honestly, I reckon Japan will still qualify from their group, but honestly, keep the ball away from Yoshida, as any striker with any semblance of pace is going to whiz by him with ease. Honestly, it's like being in a race with Yoda of Star Wars. Spain, Gavi. So, Gavi is supposed to be the truth, right? The next budding young Barcelona and Spain superstar. But I just reckon this tournament is too soon. Stop trying to rush it. This guy has only just turned 18 years old, and yet the worrying thing is that Luis Enrique chooses to start him in nearly every match. Even a legendary world great like Andres Iniesta was largely protected from the fame during his teens. I mean, he didn't make his Spain debut until he was 22. He wasn't even picked at 20 years old for the Euro 2004 squad. This is just too much for Gavi. And I reckon the power of liberal fans on the internet will seize on every sloppy Gavi touch and scream on social media about how Thiago Alcantara should have been on the plane instead. I just think Gavi will be a class player, but at 18, if Enrique continues to throw him into the starting 11, it'll just be too much for him, and he won't play very well. Belgium, Jeremy Doku. But I reckon the biggest flop will be Jeremy Doku. I mean, he was an absolute star at Euro 2020, but I mean, since then, the Liverpool links have gone quiet, right? I reckon, considering this fella has scored just once for Rennes since that tournament, yes, once. And so far, 0 goals in 8 League One matches this season. I mean, offer him to Liverpool fans now, and they would react the same way as if you'd offer them a steak smeared in horse placenta. I mean, Roberto Martinez seems to like Doku, but honestly, this tournament is going to be the reverse of Euro 2020. He's just going to look like if Sammy Amiobi discovered the gym. Horrible end product, just no. Canada, Jonathan David. Jonathan David is one of Canada's genuine superstars. Unlike Doku, he actually knows how to score in France. 9 goals for Lille this season, but Canada will barely have any possession. They'll be overwhelmed in every match, and being a centre forward, David will barely touch the ball. I honestly reckon in their game against Croatia, where Luka Modric will absolutely dominate the midfield, I reckon David is going to touch the ball 4 times all match, which will surely be a record World Cup low. Honestly, David is not scoring in this tournament. No way! Croatia, Domagoj Vida. Croatia better pray they don't have any injuries, because having Domagoj Vida as first choice centre-back reserve, yes, he's got 100 caps, great, but he's 33 years old and currently rotting away in Greece with AEK Athens. No, I just know he's going to end up on the pitch, and so yeah, he'll be absolutely atrocious. I mean, it's probably fitting he currently lives in Athens, because look at him. He looks like one of the monsters that tries to fight Hercules. Sure, I mean, he looks a bit intimidating, like if he gave a haircut to Pennywise the Clown, but I mean, he's going to be hopeless on the pitch. Morocco, Youssef En-Nesyri. Youssef En-Nesyri is the Morocco superstar, right? But what is going on? Seriously, 2 seasons ago, he was a breakout star for Sevilla, netting 24 goals. So, well, tell me then, this season, why does he have 0 La Liga goals in 10 matches? How could a guy be playing for a team who were in the Champions League group stages? Yeah, the same season they're in a relegation scrap. It's a horrible, embarrassing season for En-Nesyri, and so yeah, this version from Morocco, you're not going to hear a peep from him. He's going to do nothing. Brazil, Rafinha. So far, Rafinha has been a Barcelona flop. I mean, he just has. This guy was lightning, absolutely lightning in pre-season after that big money switch from Leeds. But when it comes to actual competitive matches where it means something, he's shown the end product of a pint of infected milk. 2 goals in 18 matches. 2, and a total of 4 assists, half of which were against a team from Czech Republic. I know he's only been playing for Brazil for a little over a year, but the coach Tite seems to love him, and I know he has mostly delivered in a Brazil shirt so far, but I just reckon in this tournament, I mean, he'll start the first match, but he'll look like an underconfident shrew who doesn't want the ball, and he'll be hauled off for Anthony. Honestly, Rafinha, he's not scoring a single goal. Cameroon, Brian Mbemo. Yeah, so Brian Mbemo has been Cameroonian for about 5 minutes, only declaring for them in August, giving up on his France dream at a blatant attempt at just wanting to go to the World Cup. And so far, it hasn't been good. He's played 3 games for Cameroon on that right wing, losing to Uzbekistan, South Korea, and failing to beat Panama. It'll be more of the same with this tournament. They'll lose every match, and without Ivan Toney there as his Brentford comfort blanket, Mbemo is going to look like a lost puppy, all huff and puff with the end product of a shoe. Serbia, Luka Jovic. Remember Luka Jovic for 5 minutes was a European superstar, somehow tricking Real Madrid into buying him, but he's now an uninspiring cheese muffin of Fiorentina, and I know he's still young. He's only 24, but his career is absolutely slid off a cliff, and yeah, you won't even look like scoring a goal in this tournament. Sorry, Luca. Switzerland, Jordan Shaqiri. Jordan Shaqiri has been Switzerland's main source of magic at tournaments for the past 10 years, right? So it's going to be weird to see an MLS flop, a Chicago Fire misfit in Jordan Shaqiri, no longer scoring World Cup hat-tricks, but now just sadly looking unfit, and yeah, just looking like someone who just escaped Snow White's house. Sorry, Jordan, but you're going to be awful this month. Ghana, Inaki Williams. Yeah, another player who just blatantly switched countries for the World Cup. Lads, Inaki Williams has already played for Spain. I mean, he's 28 years old and only now finds the time to play for Ghana. I don't know. Having such a lukewarm commitment to this country, only choosing to declare for Ghana when he's more than halfway through his career, I think this will translate onto the pitch, and this Athletic Bilbao forward will just remain a mediocre outsider who struggled to gain respect and trust from his teammates. Honestly, he won't be much good. Portugal, Pepe. Is this a joke? Why does Fernando Santos continue to pick Pepe? This man literally turns 40 years old in February. I remember this guy when he was talking about retiring back in 2009 after losing his head on the pitch and turning into the Portuguese Michael Myers. Credit to his longevity, but please, Santos, you cannot start him at the World Cup. He'll be eaten alive like a fried egg sandwich. Oh, honestly, consider he's only played 3 minutes of football for Porto since coming back from an injury, then lads, if he's on the pitch, he's going to be utterly exposed. South Korea, Kwon Chang-soon. Do I look like Alfie? Next! Uruguay, Edison Cavani. Listen, I know Edison Cavani has been in decent form for Valencia. I mean, he went through a spurt of scoring 4 goals in 3 La Liga matches before an ankle injury, but still, I know Uruguay have a tendency to trust evergreen aging centre forward just in case they pull off a Diego Forlan World Cup masterclass from 2010. But sorry, Cavani, he's nearly 36. This isn't Forlan Part 2, although you were both underappreciated Man United centre forwards, but still, this will just be like watching an ice cream van try to turn. Sorry, Cavani, you were once an absolute goal-scoring monster, a legend of the sport, but here, you're just going to be massively outshone by Darwin Núñez. Sorry, Edison, but no. And then what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know, what player do you think is going to flop any World Cup team? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, as always, I'll talk to you in a while.